In the early 2000s, off the coast of Somalia, a nation crumbling under the weight of decades of civil war and statelessness, an unexpected threat emerged that would shake global trade routes and challenge world navies: piracy. It was not the romanticized piracy of bygone centuries, but a new breed born from desperation, political failure, and unchecked foreign exploitation. This modern piracy arose along the Gulf of Aden and the Indian Ocean, evolving into a complex, multinational criminal enterprise. In the years that followed, it captured the world's attention as commercial ships were hijacked, crews held for ransom, and insurers scrambled to calculate the spiraling costs of insecurity on the high seas. But to understand how it came to this, we must return to the origins of the Somali state's collapse. After the fall of Siad Barre's government in 1991, Somalia descended into chaos. Clan warlords carved the country into fiefdoms. With no central authority, lawlessness spread not only on land but also across its expansive coastline, the longest on the African continent. Government patrols ceased, and Somali waters became a free-for-all. Foreign fishing vessels, sensing opportunity, entered Somali waters in droves. Unregulated and unopposed, they began plundering marine life, using destructive techniques that depleted local stocks and left Somali fishermen, already struggling to survive, without a means of livelihood. At the same time, allegations emerged that foreign companies were dumping toxic waste along the coast, further polluting the waters and exacerbating local resentment. Faced with economic collapse and foreign encroachment, Somali fishermen took matters into their own hands. They armed themselves and began seizing foreign fishing trawlers. Initially, these were acts of vigilantism, ostensibly to defend national waters. But soon, they discovered something far more lucrative than fish: ransom. The transformation from coastal defenders to full-fledged pirates was swift. What began as acts of protest morphed into organized crime. Pirate gangs emerged, equipped with skiffs, GPS systems, and satellite phones. They operated with impunity, emboldened by Somalia's lack of governance and the vastness of the ocean. Their tactics evolved, becoming more sophisticated and violent. By 2008, Somali piracy had reached its peak. That year alone saw over 100 attempted hijackings. Shipping routes through the Gulf of Aden, one of the busiest in the world, became perilous. Insurance premiums skyrocketed, and the global shipping industry faced billions in losses. Pirates targeted oil tankers, cargo ships, and even luxury yachts, often holding crews hostage for months, while demanding millions in ransom. Their operations became increasingly coordinated. Financiers and warlords backed pirate groups, expecting a share of the loot. In towns like Isle and Harrodhere, piracy money fueled a local boom. Restaurants and shops opened, and new cars filled dusty streets. Pirates became folk heroes in some communities, symbols of resistance against both foreign exploitation and domestic neglect. A typical ransom operation looked something like this. 50% of the money went to the pirates who boarded the ship. 33% to the investors, those who funded the mission with cash for fuel, weapons, food, and bribes. The rest? Paid to support staff, guards, translators, local elders. There were even bonuses. The first man to board a ship might get a $10,000 reward. Top pirates earned up to $75,000 per hijacking, an unimaginable fortune in a country where most people lived on less than $2 a day. Between 2005 and 2012, Somali pirates earned over $400 million. In 2008 alone, piracy became the country's largest industry, generating around $50 million. Some pirates gave a cut to local communities. Others bragged about their riches. Many saw themselves as heroes. Bado Adinta Bada. They called themselves saviors of the sea. The world took notice when the pirates went big. In 2008, the Sirius Star, a Saudi oil tanker the size of an aircraft carrier, was hijacked. The pirates made off with $3 million. In 2013, They seized the Smyrni, a Greek tanker, and held it for 10 months. The ransom? $9, $5 million. But nothing caught global attention like the story of Captain Richard Phillips. In April 2009, Somali pirates boarded the Maersk Alabama. Captain Phillips offered himself as a hostage to save his crew. For days, he was held in a lifeboat drifting in the Indian Ocean, guarded by young pirates with trembling fingers on the trigger. The U.S. Navy moved in. When negotiations failed, Navy SEAL snipers executed a simultaneous triple shot, killing all but one pirate. That lone survivor, 18-year-old Abduwali Musi, was taken to the U.S. The first pirate tried in America in over a century. He's still in prison today. Behind the headlines, Somali piracy had created a shadow economy. It linked local actors with international financiers, insurers, negotiators, and money launderers. Ransoms, sometimes exceeding $10 million, flowed through intricate networks that included lawyers and banks in Europe, the Middle East, and Africa. This criminal ecosystem thrived in the absence of state regulation. Pirate bosses invested in real estate, businesses, and arms. Meanwhile, ransoms became a form of income distribution in coastal communities. Clan elders and local militias often received a cut, ensuring a degree of protection and support for pirates. Piracy also fed into Somalia's broader war economy. Profits helped fund militias and enabled warlords to consolidate power. In some cases, pirates aligned with Islamist groups, including Al-Shabaab, although ideological and operational differences often kept these alliances tenuous. Still, the mere possibility of jihadist pirate collaboration alarmed Western governments. The involvement of diaspora Somalis further globalized piracy. In cities like London, Minneapolis, and Dubai, Somali businessmen were accused of laundering ransom money or facilitating negotiations. The lines between criminality and legitimacy blurred as piracy revenue seeped into formal financial systems. The international community could not ignore the threat. The waters off Somalia were too strategic, linking the Suez Canal to the Indian Ocean and beyond. In response, a coalition of naval forces from NATO, the European Union, China, India, and others deployed warships to patrol the region. Operation Atlanta, launched by the EU in 2008, was among the first coordinated efforts to protect shipping and deter pirates. Navies began escorting convoys, conducting surveillance, and intercepting pirate skiffs. Shipping companies adopted new protocols, including traveling at higher speeds, using armed security personnel, and rerouting ships around the Cape of Good Hope, an expensive but safer alternative. These measures began to work. By 2012, piracy incidents had significantly declined. International navies captured dozens of pirates and disrupted their logistics. Pirates themselves faced increased risks, and local communities began to turn against them as the costs of international retaliation became clear. But while naval intervention curbed the symptoms, it failed to address the root causes: poverty, political instability, and lack of economic opportunity in Somalia. Without a functioning state, the risk of resurgence loomed large. Behind the headlines, Somali piracy had created a shadow economy. It linked local actors with international financiers, insurers, negotiators, and money launderers. Ransoms, sometimes exceeding $10 million, flowed through intricate networks that included lawyers and banks. Beneath the statistics lies a trail of human suffering. Thousands of sailors, many from the Philippines, India, and Ukraine, were captured and held in harsh conditions. Some endured months or even years in captivity, chained below decks with minimal food and medical care. A number died during hostage situations or from untreated illnesses. The psychological toll was immense. Survivors reported trauma, depression, and long-term fear. Shipping companies faced criticism for underreporting attacks or failing to support victims. The ransom-driven model also discouraged swift resolution. Negotiators played for time, hoping to reduce demands, prolonging the agony of hostages. For the pirates themselves, the dream of quick riches often ended in tragedy. Many were killed in naval raids or drowned during botched hijackings. Others squandered their earnings on drugs, cars, and women, only to return to poverty. By the mid-2010s, piracy off Somalia had nearly disappeared. Improved naval coordination, industry best practices, and local crackdowns combined to suppress attacks. The shipping industry breathed a sigh of relief, but experts warned that the structural conditions enabling piracy remained unresolved. In 2017, a worrying sign emerged. Pirates hijacked an oil tanker, the first such incident in 5 years. Though quickly resolved, it underscored the fragility of progress. The Somali piracy crisis reveals how global insecurity can emerge from local collapse. What began as fishermen resisting illegal fishing became a billion-dollar criminal enterprise with worldwide implications. The crisis showed the limits of military solutions and the necessity of political, economic, and social rebuilding. Today, the waters off Somalia remain calmer, but they are not secure. As long as Somalia struggles with state failure, corruption, and poverty, piracy will remain a latent threat. The challenge is not only to deter future attacks but to offer alternatives, to create a Somalia where young men don't see the sea as their only chance at a better life. In that sense, the story of Somali piracy is far from over. It is a cautionary tale, a global case study, and a moral reckoning with what happens when the world looks away while a nation falls apart, and its people, in desperation, take to the waves. It is not possible to include whole research in the video. To understand the issue, and complete research links of the sources are provided in the description. Share your opinion and subscribe the channel.